Welcome back to the world of Shatranj, an ancient chess variant from Persia. A few days ago my good friend the Scholar sent me the best Shatranj position I've ever seen, with each different kind of piece being involved. Yes, even the elephants. Let's get the position on the board. Here it is, it's Red's turn to move, and we also have some text to go along with this that has come down to us through the mists of time. This is the Mantuba mentioned by Laj, which is known by the name of the Water Wheel, because the king is driven round 3 times by the knights and is conquered on his own square, and because the player of the knights can, if he likes, drive him around forever. This problem is of marvellous skill, and the win is on the original square after 71 moves, wherefore know it. It then goes on to say, the solution was found carved on a stone of the time of the Greeks and was then translated into Arabic. So if that is true, which I kind of doubt, this position is ridiculously old, something like 2,000 years. Let's go along with it though. Let's add some Greeks. There they are, looking suitably heroic. And feel free to pause the video at any point to see if you can figure out the next move. Now, as you heard from the text, the knights are involved and the king is going to be checkmated on his starting square, which is this dark one at the bottom. So let's start sending the king that way. Give him a check with the first knight. Now, you can't retreat because the other knight's protecting this square. You can't capture the pawn because the furs is protecting it here. The furs is moved 1 square in a diagonal direction, so it's also covering this dark square. So let's move the king down to his only escape route. The other knight comes in now, and you're going to be forced down to this square. The pawn is protecting the furs. Again, it's a check. The knight is now covering this square, the furs is still covering this, and the other knight on the rim is covering this retreating square. So you're going to be forced over to your starting dark square at the bottom, as we said. This is the checkmating position for the king. Notice that if this knight were able to capture this pawn without being immediately recaptured by the rook, it would be checkmate. You can see it's completely hemmed in and it's in check. So part of the solution will be to take out this rook, but the rook is protected by the furs. So you're going to have to take out the furs, the rook and the pawn in order to achieve the checkmate. So let's go back. Instead of capturing the pawn, you're going to need to check again here, and once more the king has only 1 square to retreat to. Notice this elephant doing a great job marking this square in front of the king. So once he moves here and you check again, the elephant's cutting off the escape path, and the knight is now giving the check and covering this square, while this one is protecting the starting square here. So we're going to keep moving. The knight comes down, gives another check, and there's only 1 square to move to. It's going to be check again, and here you do have a choice, but if you were to take the first choice, it's immediate checkmate, so you're not going to do that. Again, the elephant is doing a great job marking this retreating square. This is covered by the knight, this is covered by the knight, this is covered by the pawn, so you can't move to the rim here. So instead, you're going to have to move up. The knight's coming in, giving another check, and yeah, you can't come here because of the pawn. You've got 1 square to go to. So you're noticing a pattern here that the knights are just working in tandem, pushing the king around the board. That's a check again. You've got 1 square to go to because this elephant, the other elephant, is also doing a fantastic job at hemming the king in. He's protecting this square, and the knight is covering this one, and the pawn is covering this light square. So you've got 1 to go to. So again, bring up one of the knights, give a check, and the rook is blocking the escape this way. The elephant's still covering this square, so you're going to have to go up. And again, the knight comes in. The rook is blocking the back rank here, so you're just going to have to keep moving forwards. Now, what happens here? We have a check, which is forking the furs, and as you remember, one of the objectives was to take out the furs so that we can take out the rook, so that we can take out the pawn. So again, the king has only 1 move here. This square is covered by the king, so let's bring him down. And before we take this furs, we're going to check again so that the king no longer protects the furs. He's going to be forced across here. He can't come forward to this square because of this pawn. And now you're going to take out the furs with check. So the king is going to have to move forward again. And now the other knight comes in, it's a check, and he's getting forced down the edge here. And we're nearly back to the starting position here. That's check, and you can see he's forking the rook. So this is the second objective achieved, except you need to be wary of the king protecting the rook. You're going to have to fork him again, and he's going to have to move down. And now you can grab the rook again with check. The king is moving down, and check again. Moves across, check again, and yeah, we weren't in the right position to be able to pick up the pawn this time round to get the checkmate, so we're going to have to go around the board once more. Up he goes, check, across, knight comes down, king moves up, check again. Once more, there's the choice of the two moves in the corner, but you can't go here because it's instant checkmate, so the king moves up. Check again, he moves up. Check again, he moves up. Has to avoid the elephant square here. He can't go where the rook's covering. Check again, he moves up. Check again, he moves across. Check again, he has to move down. And check again, he moves across. Again, you can't move forward to this square. Check again, he's on the rim. Check. And he has to move down. Check again, he has to move down again. Check again. We're about move 68 now. Let's check again. And you'll notice that on the rim here, you're forking the target pawn. You're going to have to move down. The other knight comes in, it's check. The king is back on his starting square, and you're grabbing the pawn with checkmate. Very nice. Now, I just want to take you back to the starting position. Let's go. Now, I'm just going to fast forward through all the moves so that you can appreciate the beauty and the nature of the water wheel in action. Let's go. Here go the knights, chasing the king around in a great big circle, taking out the furs, and the second time round, taking out the rook, and now the last time round, getting into the checkmate position and taking out the pawn. So that's great. Let's rewind it and go forward again because it's so cool. It's even cool going backwards, anti-clockwise. Let's do it one more time. Ooh. Bit too far. Let's go. It's going around. Oh, wow, it's just great. Enjoy that. And here he comes around for the checkmate. So awesome. But chess mess. What? One move is counted after both players have a turn, not after each individual turn. Therefore, this was not a mate in 71 moves. It was mate in 32 moves. Shut up with your newfangled modern nonsense. I'll see you next time.